Hey, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Some more politics with Laura. Oh, after the election of, how can I say, the century, the Democratic Party is reflecting on what they did wrong. They're thinking of Donald Trump and his crescendo to the top, right? But we're going to get into it.
Because I thought we were supposed to conserve it.
Hey, this is Big Girl. Hey, okay, so please, before I get into it, please like, subscribe. Please do that. If you want to jump off the bridge, become a member because there's some stuff on it that we go into greater detail. And it's $4.99 a month. So help me out. And if you really, really want to jump out the window, Cash at me, PayPal, Venmo. If you really like my content and you want to help me, but not give 30% to YT, but I get all of it. Politics with Laura, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Everything helps and it'll be greatly appreciated. All right, let's go ahead and get into the thick of it. The Democratic Party is, how can I say, imploding on itself. But I want to soak you a little bit before we get into other videos of how they're imploding, which they are. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. However, let's start with this. Now, I thought it was quite interesting that Manchin, well, before I get into Manchin, let's look at the overlook from Politico. Politico, they wrote an article giving an outline of what the issues were. But before we do that, let me give you my beliefs on what the issues were. Oh, where do I begin? Number one, Democratic Party was not dealing with reality. They were dealing with what used to be, and what used to be was working, and they thought that they could drag that up to 2024. However, when you rely on a group of people, and yes, a group of people, I'm speaking of Black Americans, strictly Black Americans who were screaming for reparations and assistance, and it fell on deaf ears. Now, the Democratic Party prides themselves on being the party of the downtrodden and the poor. Well, it didn't work that way. Now, when you have a candidate like Kamala Harris who cosplay, who, shall I say, is a cultural bastard. Yes, I said it, a cultural bastard, because she started off, and that may sound harsh, but what she did was harsh. Playing on people, playing on people's cultural norms, playing on just playing on it for your vote. And it wasn't even real. But however, she started off as Indian and garnished the Indian vote, got them because she is half Indian. And they were down with her. Yes, one of her own. Yes. And that's as it should be. If that's who you are, then be who you are. Be comfortable in your own skin, but don't pretend when you don't feel comfortable. Don't do it, because people can see, and that's what people saw. So yes, a cultural bastard. And then she did a bad job cosplaying within the Black American realm. And then you had people that were saying, yeah, she's our sister, she's this. Keep in mind, not all of them were Black American. No, you have to understand that in this country, you have Black people that may look alike, but are from completely different lineages. That right there played a huge role in that. It did. It most definitely did. And she leaned into it, and she leaned too far, and she fell because she was listening to all the wrong people. Because she was like, yeah, I know the Black American, but well, she was listening to other people that had zero connection with Black American people. Zero. But she's the one that she's supposed to be the Black people whisperer, and also listening to Roland Martin and Joy Reid and all of those individuals that are so far connected from the soil, so far connected. All right, now let me go ahead and get to the article. I had to say that I had to get that out there because if I didn't, it just would not be, yeah. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right, here we are. Politico. Now I found this quite interesting. I'm like, okay, what are you going to tell us? Now here, from despair to action, Democrats plot their comeback. Now, let's see. The party is focusing on rare bright spots from election day as it looks to improving the standard of standing ahead in the 2026 midterms. Okay, let's see. All right. The Democratic officials are combining through granular election data, reevaluating their digital strategies and reaching out to Donald Trump voters as they attempt to pull themselves out of the political wilderness. So you're going to go to Donald Trump supporters and say, "Hey, how can we what can we do to get your vote?" Basically, what can we do? Well, why don't you first start looking at the people who you screwed over? Because many people, especially Black men, took out and sat on the couch. They said, I'm voting for the couch because I'm not with either party. So I thought that was interesting. But that's exactly what happened. But then you did have a group of men that did vote for Donald Trump, and then you had a group of men that voted for Kamala Harris, and they did it to shut their women up. If you don't love me, if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, you don't love me, you're not down with girl magic. I mean, stuff like that. Oh, man, the things that I heard. All right. And then they go in an interview across half a dozen of states, the party's elected officials, labor leaders, strategists describe widespread acknowledgement that the Democratic Party must win back working class voters, particularly Latino men and others without college degrees who helped hand it the election to. That's a lie. Election to Trump. And in anguished conversations in the halls of Congress and state party, the party headquarters, from coast to coast, despair over the scales of the Democrats' losses are given away to plans to combat their crisis. Well, number one, let me show myself. Number one, that should be done is you need to tell the truth. You're not telling the truth because you're saying that it was working class men and Latino voters. Well, no, they played a part in it, but they were focusing on, well, we have the Black American vote. We got them. They vote as a block. So them we're not even going to consider. And the fact that you're still talking the same thing and you're not going to win again in 2026. Matter of fact, December 22nd, 2024, 5:05 Eastern Standard Time. You're not going to win 2028 election and 2026 midterms and all the other elections that's going to go on. You're going to lose those too because you're not even being honest. I'm not going to call you a liar. Nah, I'm going to say you're disingenuous. How about that? Back to the article. Okay, so here, from the mill towns in the swing states of Pennsylvania to Latino neighborhoods in bustling New York City, a uh, reframe is crescendoing. The Democratic Party, with loss of the presidential popular vote for the first time in 20 years, desperately needs to overhaul. And while party elders in the nation's capital begin to debate their path as Republican prepares to control every branch of the government, state leaders are drafting their own autopsies. You know, again, they're looking at everything else. They cannot believe that the Black Americans walked away from the Democratic Party, because I was among them for a long time until I'm like, I'm not getting anything for my vote. Why do I need to do this? I'm not voting for Democrats. I'm going to be independent, and you're going to have to earn my vote. Kamala Harris nor the Democratic Party in the lower levels, in local levels, didn't earn my vote. They took advantage of my vote. So no. So, however, they go on, and they haven't. You haven't learned a doggone thing. You haven't. Um, we need to do a lot of building across the nation, not just the battleground states, but states where we need to lift up the Democratic Party that has been less competitive than it should be. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said his state remains solidly blue, but Trump considerably narrowed the 2020 gap from this year. Okay, you need to uplift your party, make it more competitive, but why don't you just simply listen to the people and stop ignoring the people, the ignorable people that you have been ignoring because you've been sliding through all this time? But you lost. Look, let's go back over it. You lost every section. You lost the House of Representatives. You lost the Congress. Heck, you even lost the, what do you call it? The Supreme Court. You lost everything due to your arrogance and ignoring your constituents. I don't have to rely on you because you're still going to be there no matter what, because I could beat you all day long and you'll still be there. That's exactly what was going on. Let me see. There's something else I wanted to point out. Okay, here. Democrats' few election day achievements include 3 battleground House seats picked up in New York, are being studied across the country as the party undergoes the reckoning. Because even in blue New York, Trump narrowed the Democrat advantage from 2020 by 12 points. That's huge. Now, are they really studying what's going on, or are they just simply ignoring what's going on as if, okay, you gave us a little bit of this, now come back, and you threw your tantrum, come back so we can abuse you some more. But two swing seat Democrats who outperformed Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania, everyone outperformed Kamala Harris in New York, are urging their colleagues to lean into economic issues and the border security concerns that rank top of mind for voters. And one's Republicans, maybe once, I don't know, have effectively wielded to ignite either base to lure swing voters. So, I mean, if okay, let me go ahead and show myself. Look, the Democrats were not speaking to the voters because they were so far left that they were only speaking for a small minority of voters. The Democrats were not talking to all voters. They were talking to their small niche voters that were able to wield a lot of power. They had a lot of power, but not the votes. Now, it got to the point to where people found it ridiculous to where there are so many different genders and there's so many different this, and the bathroom situation became all political. And it got to the point that it pissed everyone off, not just a small group, but it pissed everyone off to the point to where everybody's like, okay, we are done with this. We tried. We've gave concessions. We listened and we gave the small group what they wanted. But no matter what we did, it wasn't enough. And you too much. This is too much. And now the people have spoken, and the smaller groups that wielded all that power are going to lose it all because they went too far. The Democrats never sat them down to pull them back. They went along with the far progressive left. So far left that it turned the entire country red. You didn't read the room, Democrats. You didn't read the room. And you ran with it and you lost. And the fact that you're not even looking at how you lost is a huge problem. And it's going to bite you in the butt in 2026. It's going to really bite you in the butt in 2028. I will be surprised if you make any headwaves in 2032. I'm just saying. All right. So the Representative Chris DeLucio, the only swing district House Democrats in Pennsylvania who kept his seat this year, outperformed Harris. Everybody outperformed Harris. In deep red Beaver County, particularly the old mill and factory towns. And that's what Pennsylvania is. You have 4 major cities, and the rest are small rural areas and small cities. And what he did was a no-brainer. It didn't take a PhD or master's degree to figure this one out. The history in my region in place, like mine and lousy trade deals and crappy policies, the shift of jobs all over the planet, and Republicans were responsible for that, and some Democrats were too. He said, I certainly, the one thing I ran on my campaign is talking about economic issues, and the economic issues like that head on. And that was the issue. That was the issue right there. And that's what the Democrats were not even bothered paying attention to. They were too busy saying illegal immigrants, because they had to have some idea that a swing was going to occur. But they brought 28 million illegal immigrants and tried to do everything for them and to give them a leg up while you're giving the Americans a leg down, and while you're even further suppressing the Black Americans that you said that you were supposed to at least have some feelings for, which you didn't. Then you take all the illegal immigrants and then you start packing them in Black cities, in Black areas. You did not even bother to put them in the middle class areas. No, you didn't. And Nancy Pelosi, you didn't put them in your district, and they were not living next door to you. No. However, it backfired on you, because not only did you piss off your base, but you pissed off everyone else. Democrats, you went too far. And this article is not even telling the truth. It truly isn't. So I'm going to leave this article right here and let's look at what Manchin said. Because what Manchin said, he got straight to the issue. He got straight to it. He said, okay, I'm going to have to be honest with what's going on here. Okay, should I play this? Let me play it a little bit. Fair use, fair use. Manchin calls Democratic Party brand toxic over BC. Okay. Okay, I wasn't expecting that.
It has secret strong.
I need more than this to get me through the rest of this Congress. This will be the worst performing Congress in the history of the United States of America. And it's all because the House cannot move. That one vote vacate, one person can threaten the speaker every time. And the only way you can remain speaker here is to do nothing, because you're going to make someone upset.
There are very fewer and fewer people like you in the Senate. I mean, is that...
A lot of my colleagues would say, thank God.
Yes, they would, including some in your former party.
Oh, many of my former party.
And what he said was absolutely right. He said for Speaker of the House to do absolutely nothing. And you saw that with Speaker, what's his name? McCarthy. Then from Speaker McCarthy, they got rid of him because he was trying to work on both sides of the aisle, but that's not what the Republicans wanted. They're like, we're going to bulldoze this through. Well, you had a large Democratic stronghold there, and it didn't work. So when he tried to play both sides of the aisle, and then he had to make promises to a whole lot of people. And this is the thing about promises. When you make promises, many promises to many people, you're going to piss someone off. And that's exactly what happened. And that's exactly what Manchin said. He said, hey, the only way to keep your job as Speaker of the House is to do nothing while gridlock just stops. Quite interesting. But let me move on with this. Let me just get straight into the article. Now, Joe Manchin prepares to leave Congress after nearly 15 years, the West Virginia senator, and he was he was Republican, Democrat, and then he left to become an independent. He was everything. Who left the Democratic Party and resigned as an independent earlier this year, is the furthest distance from himself, further distance himself from the former party, calling the Democratic Party brand toxic. The D brand has been so maligned from the standpoint of it's toxic. Manchin told the CNN Manu Raju in an interview airing Sunday, citing the shift as the reason why he left the party. Now, I will go as far as saying is that there are way too many women on a Democratic Party, and if you don't, how can I say, if you don't understand one thing, is that women do not get along for the most part. Nah. There was too much fighting within the Democratic Party, too much fighting within the Republican Party, and too much fighting across the aisle to where Marjorie Taylor Greene said something about Jasmine Crockett, talking about her eyelashes, talking about her physical appearance, which was a no-no. But however, Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't understand the snapback, which it was swift, it was rough, and it was true. Okay. She called her bad built, bleach, bomb, blonde Bad Bill Beach Blonde. I can't remember the last one. But she put all those B's in there. She just boop, 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 snapped it off like that. And no matter where Marjorie Taylor Greene went on an airplane, on a train, with her skateboarding, somebody called her the BBBBB. And it wasn't Build Back Better. But that's women for you. We are catty and we fight amongst each other. And Manchin, I get it. You're like, I can't deal with this mess. I can't deal with all this estrogen. I can't deal with all this infighting. I need a break. I get it. I get it. But back to the article. Okay, adding that he no longer considered himself a Democrat in the form of what Democratic Party has turned itself into. Manchin, who also has long been a pivotal swing voter in the Senate, he said the Senate's brand has become about telling people what they can and can't do, blaming progressives for the change. And that right there, I most definitely have to say is absolutely true. I'm going to keep this kind of short. So you hear it from what Politico was saying, and they're not even dealing with the true issues of what the Democratic Party is going through. Then you have Manchin from West Virginia who's saying, oh my God, it's so toxic. I gotta go. I gotta get away from these catty, infighting women. I've been there. Can't deal with them. But here, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it. We really need to get down to the nuts and bolts of it. That right there would most definitely make things quite clear. Now, Al Jazeera, and this is okay. Let me bring this up. Al Jazeera, I have to say, did a pretty good job breaking this down. And Al Jazeera pointed out the difference between the 2024 election, and I believe if this is the right article, it also goes into 2022. Does it? I mean 2020. Yeah, right here. Okay, here. The 2020 election, Biden won 306 votes and Trump won 232. I'm sorry, I'm not going to give them access to my computer. You're not putting no cookies on nothing. And here it shows 2024. Now, where I'm trying to find are the hardcore numbers. So here, what are the hardcore numbers? I thought I had it. All these ads, this is crazy. Okay, let's go ahead and deal with what we had because I thought I had it. So here, here it shows all 50 states shifted to red in 2024. Just as I stated, because the Democratic Party did not read the room. And if they did, they didn't care because they thought that they could continue going along as people are getting uncomfortable and not liking the way things are going. But here, 2020, okay, here in 2020, it was still a blue wave. Now, if you notice, there was more red states. Now, some states do not have a lot of people in it. So there's a lot of room there. And if you look at the northern states, there's not a lot of people in Iowa, Montana, North and South Dakota, Nebraska. Not a lot of people. Utah on down. But it was the heavily dense states are down south. And as far as Alaska. But Joe Biden still won. Now, with those 4 years and all the blunders and everything that occurred, they were like, okay, I can't deal with this. I can't. So then the red wave hit and just took over, and Trump took everything. And the fact that the Democratic Party is still saying all the crazy stuff and not truly trying to fix the problem if they want to gain their party back. And they are naming, well, it was Latino men. It was, the LGBTQ. Oh, it was this, it was that. No. It was Black American people, especially the men,